Hi guys, I'm Shmi and today I'm at the home of Aston Martin in Gaydon, Warwickshire to take a look at my first drive in the new DB11. This is a particularly important car for the brand, of course, the successor to the DB9, a car that was on market for 12 or 13 years or so, and I'm going to get an opportunity today to take it for my first drive. So we'll have a look around the car, talk about the sort of stats and aero and some sort of special features on the new DB11, then I'll take it out for a drive on the roads before we come back and take a look around it in a little bit more detail and show you some of the interior. So what are we looking at? Aston's GT car, the beautiful and very, very elegant shape and lines maintained that you expect from recent Astons. They always look so, so good and instantly recognisable, just from the iconic grille at the front, the wings badge displayed on the bonnet, and the whole sort of shape and look of the car. You have no doubt as to what brand you're looking at. It is an Aston Martin, and it is beautiful. For this car, one of the things that was, I guess, pretty important is the engine, the power plant, and this has a 5.2 litre twin-turbo V12 up here, maintaining the V12, something pretty important, and I'm looking forward to hearing how it sounds, especially when we're out driving it. I'm going to give you a quick glimpse of that engine before we continue, because it is a very, very beautiful place. So we open up the doors, the swan doors that open up slightly upwards, press the button here to release the engine bay, and we'll come round and open that up. The clam opens forwards. The clam itself is actually a pretty special feature on its own. It is the largest single piece of aluminium used in the automotive industry. It's quite a significant piece, as you can see, that makes way outside of the lights. But let's come to this, the engine. The 5.2 litre V12 twin turbo, all mounted in here. 608 PS. That equates to 600 brake horsepower, 700 Newton meters of torque. So you've got a top speed of 200 miles an hour and 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds. Gearbox, an 8-speed ZF. But while we're looking around here, something I really like, the final inspection plaque. So for the first 1,000 DB11s, the inspection is being done by company CEO Andy Palmer himself. He's taking a look in the evenings at every single one of these. So that's a fairly special thing with this brand. Now, when we're down here, you'll notice that there's a lot of space going on right above the front wheels. And that is for this, the curler cue. Now, I'm going to explain how that works. So you've got all of the air in the front wheel arch that's sort of obviously blustering around. That now comes out here, and this is all sort of designed aerodynamically. So if I just shut the door, to send the air curling out and up towards these intakes here, just towards the back. Now those ducts will sort of pull the air through and it's released back here, so you don't need a spoiler because the air that comes out is doing the job for you, and at various speeds you have this little aero blade that will come up and do all sorts of magic things. So that's pretty clever, and that is developed through from the Vulcan, so Aston Martin's track only, very, very focused development kind of project, and that gives them the opportunity to work on those kind of things. If I close this back down, get a better grip on it, there we go, quite beautifully closes with a soft close mechanism, and we can see the headlights back, full LED headlights. Even those just give the front a very aggressive stance. I mean, the pronounced sort of top lip here above the front, lining up with the splitter, just gives a sort of aggression to what is still such a beautiful looking car. I mean, as you come round, the wheel design, the two-tone to the diamond cut and black wheels, still very Aston Martin, but quite intricate in its details, how you've got the sort of different spokes, different lengths and shapes. I mean, obviously design and sort of subconscious image is so important for this car. So around the back, you've got the sort of look to the lights curling around these sort of aerodynamic sort of, I guess, fins, you could almost say, at the back there, and then down below, the twin exhaust, the sort of slash cut exhaust tips on either side, where we're going to hear the noise of that V12 when we fire it up in a moment. Just come back around, open up the door to show you the interior. It's probably going to be very hot in here, but let's have a quick little look around. You've got the sort of raw carbon fibre style finishing in this car. All sorts of tech and gadgetry. A lot of the new sort of style of components for Aston Martin here have come from the partnership with Daimler Mercedes, so it's all been seriously updated versus how Aston Martin had it before. I'm looking forward to trying this all out, but it's very, very beautiful on the interior too. The 2+2 seating configuration, and then the sort of squared off steering wheel in front of us. A nice paddle feel behind, so we'll take this out. Oh, full digital displays as well there, with an extra display in the centre. So I suppose I should start it up, and to do so I'm actually going to show you the key which I have in my pocket. So this is the new Aston Martin Key. It's a sort of weighty object. It's a keyless system, so that of course goes in your pocket. This car is a prototype, so excuse any scratches or the like on the key. It's been used a fair few times. That sits in your pocket. Put on the brake and start it up. That still sounds so good. The V12, it needed that, and it really, really works. This is going to sound amazing when we're out driving. Everything kind of lighting up, coming to life, and I'll show you all of these dials in a little bit more detail and the different sort of modes and settings you've got when we head back. But I think it would now be right for me to depart and get on my way driving the DB11. Pulling away, you've got two options. You can press D, it will be in automatic mode, or you can pull a paddle, and then it will stay in manual, which is actually quite nice because you've basically got that choice of driving characteristics from the word go. If you jump in the car and pull a paddle, you're going to be in a slightly sportier kind of mindset to get going. So I'm just heading out on the roads local to the Aston Martin factory, sort of discover as I go and try and experience the car in a couple of different sort of driving environments and scenarios. I mean, I'm immediately feeling super, super relaxed. GT characteristics from the word go, and in fact I've got it in GT mode. We have a couple of different modes that I can get playing with eventually, but for the moment let's just sort of take it super, super steady and relaxed. I mean, what can I tell you? Seating position, loads and loads of room for movement, variety. There's a lot of headspace, even though I've lifted the seat up quite sort of substantially just to get a better view around me. The bonnet goes on a very, very long way. I'm not going to lie, it's quite hard to have a clue where the front of the car or the front left of the car is at the moment. Little criticism there. But that's sort of the characteristic, isn't it? You've got a big engine up front, and you're sort of going to be in comfort along with that. We're driving on quite nice roads, you can probably tell. It is exceptionally smooth right now. But from this point of view, it's quiet, just the noise of the air conditioning rolling, slight little V12 rumble in the background, but that is exactly how you want it. In 7th gear at the moment at 40 miles an hour from that 8-speed ZF. It's a brilliant gearbox. They have it on the Rapide S and the Vanquish, of course, so a no-brainer that it carries through. I am sort of noticing that I can't decide where to put my elbows. I don't know if you had sort of seen that, but I'm moving them between the armrests and dropping them down. I think that's just getting used to the car, but slightly sort of funny one. On that point, everything is so soft to the touch and nice and nicely finished and just beautiful to look at and elegant and smart and exactly kind of, I guess, how you want it to be in a nice Aston Martin. All those kind of boxes ticked from the word go. Now if I put my foot down slightly, we drop some gears, you get some V12, and away we go. So let's start playing with driving modes. So on the right hand side you have the S button, which is for sport. So we're now in sport, and on the left you have the dampers. So we'll just keep it in sport for a moment, where we've got a slightly different display view, presumably a little bit more noise, obviously new throttle mapping, and more sort of get up and go. If we put the suspension adaptive dampers into sport as well, then it will really, really change characteristics. And then above sport mode, we've got Sport Plus, where, yeah, everything goes red. Goodness me, it really does sound good. This is a turbocharged engine. I'm not going to touch the pedals, keep it in auto for the moment. That's brilliant! Well done, Aston Martin. The noise has fully been retained. That's what we hoped for. Sounds brilliant. Let's just press the dampers button, put those into Sport 2. Firms up slightly, that can be told from the get-go. Just sort of drive around some corners and get a feel for it. The characteristics are much more sporting than I think I expected. Really, there's character to this, as well as the initial sort of super smooth, gentle side of it. This is cool. Right, let's try the paddles. Got shift lights as well. Oh my goodness. If there's one thing Aston Martins do perfectly, it is engine sounds. Oh boy. Okay, let's turn it back just for the moment. Back into GT mode on both. Sport Plus on the dampers first. Yeah, that's got pretty firm straight away. Back into GT mode, back into cruising. Initial impressions after a couple of miles are that the characters of this car are amazing. Super, super comfortable GT style, but quite an exciting, sporty sort of side to it too. Let's get a little bit technical for a moment. So in here we've got a new chassis. It's a new bonded aluminium structure, different to the vertical horizontal one that Aston Martin have been using for over a decade now. The car has a dry weight of 1,770 kilos, so it's a little bit on the heavy side, but it doesn't instantly feel it. You've got electrically power assisted steering, torque vectoring by braking, some pretty large steel brakes on here, and basically it's set up obviously as a GT car, but one with those sporting characteristics that so far are showing through from the word go. There is a ton of technology. So it is this 12-inch digital TFT display in front of us, a secondary 8-inch sort of multimedia display with a navigation system which is significantly upgraded on what Aston Martins from the previous generation had to offer. So it's a whole new setup, but some might argue it's still a little bit back from where it could be at this moment in time. So I'll show you that in a little bit more when we get back and go through some more of the sort of modes. But from a feel and ergonomics point of view, it is absolutely top notch. All sorts of things have been thought about. The sort of sounds you hear in the car are all in sync with one another, so it's beautifully sort of proposed to your ears. Hard to sort of explain, but it's a wonderful car to just sort of be relaxed in, go touring in. You've got a decent amount of luggage space in the boot. Again, I'll show you shortly. But just driving along, we're completely just sort of flowing away. No sort of stress in the world. Very, very easy and relaxed. And I really have to say, and I know I am often perhaps a little bit too positive about cars, but cars are getting very good. But this is a wonderful, wonderful move as a V12 Vantage Roadster goes the other way. V12 Vantage S Roadster, absolutely lovely. From being around Aston Martin, just seeing nice cars. But I am super enjoying this. The car is brilliant. I mean, I don't know how often I would drive it in this full sort of gentle mode, but putting it into Sport or Sport Plus if you want the sort of full noise package, dropping down the gears, it sounds so good. And there's very little sort of delay of the turbos as well. Clearly set up to be as close to naturally aspirated as possible as the previous generations were. You know, the DB9, 6-litre naturally aspirated V12. But this one, it just sounds brilliant, it feels brilliant, and it just goes. We've got a top speed of 200 miles per hour, of course. I am truly loving the drive with this, and the sound as we're up into the 6,000s. How can you beat that? It's an Aston Martin V12 and it is awesome! Ah! Sorry, I'm being a bit childish. I just like it a lot. Better than that? What could be better? Oh! So we return then to base where we started earlier. Now this is where I get to show you something kind of cool. So the steering, the electrically power assisted steering is very, very sensitive to speed. So when you move around at super slow speed like this, it's very light and easy to maneuver. And the car has a really tight turning circle. It's brilliant. You can turn around so easily. On the display, which I don't know if you can see that much of at the moment, we've got a full 360 camera system. So I've got front cameras, rear cameras, every kind of cameras. And I can maneuver the car completely perfectly. I mean, that's a system you see on BMWs, Mercedes, that kind of thing. But quite unusual on a car like this, and it makes life super, super easy. So now we're here, let's put it into park. I'm going to keep it running to show you around the inside. Let's get started with the sort of driver zone, the steering wheel, all the bits and pieces, and the display in front of me. So I'll pull the camera around so you can sort of see what these displays look like in a little bit more detail when they're on. So I'm in the Sport Plus mode right now. I'm just with my other hand turning down the air conditioning slightly. If I press a Sport button here on the steering wheel, right above these sort of other menu command buttons, you can see that we go back into GT mode with a different central sort of rev counter. That's Sport mode, and that's Sport Plus. Go back to GT, changes what we could see at the left as well. So there you've got fuel level and oil temperature. If we're in Sport Plus, sorry, water temperature, excuse me, and if we're in Oil Plus you get oil temperature as well. Back into GT. On the left side you have the adaptive suspension control, so if we press that, similar sort of thing, you can see we're in Sport Plus mode there. That's GT mode, just lets us know. On the right display, well, it's one single display which mode we're in. So this is actually one single 12-inch display behind the sort of silver trim here finish, which is really quite a cool way of displaying it. It looks very nice. And then you've got your sort of voice controls, your phone buttons, volume and mute, one press to mute, which is nice. But again, nice feeling sort of buttons and controls and jog dials. All your light commands and light base controls down there. Usual sort of mirrors and boot control here. This is the sort of grab handle for the door when you've opened it. So, I mean, all these sort of trim pieces are all very, very nice, especially this sort of carbon finish that runs the sort of full size of the door panel. But you pull it from in here to pull it shut. As we get to the center stack, now this is where you've got the sort of entertainment controls through this little device, the touch sort of screen device. So as I sort of swipe my finger, well, you can see on the display going right to left there, that's doing this on here. And you can move it around and do all sorts of stuff through that. You might be familiar with that from Mercedes, but obviously new to Aston Martin, displayed through this 8-inch display at the top of the sort of waterfall style, which is again Aston Martin familiar. And I like this sort of trim that runs up and around here too, which fits very, very neatly. You've got your park, reverse, neutral, drive, the start stop button, and I'm going to show you something interesting with this if I just stop it for a sec. So if you press and hold the button, you get a quieter start, and you heard a beep to let us know, and it's quieter because it keeps the valves closed. So when the car is cold, if you do that, you're not going to disturb your neighbours so much, which is quite a nice little bonus feature the car has if you press and hold it and keep holding it. Then down below that you've got all these sort of haptic feedback, auto, aircon buttons, which are all sort of quite nice to touch, and the sort of noises you get, this is what I was talking about earlier. If I just turn on the hazards, they're all very sort of nice noises to listen to, and they connect through to one another. I'm just going to turn the aircon back down because otherwise it blows so strongly that all you can hear is probably the wind. But it's all very nice to touch. It's perhaps the previous generation to where we are now, but it's a significant step up on what Astons had before. So this could be better, but it's a lot better than previous gens, and I do like that display is good. You've got the Bang & Olufsen tweeters that rise up out of the dash still, all as you expect. Seat controls, familiar Aston, they're all in here. You've got the lumbar support dial at the front, and then your sort of various seat controls and bits and pieces down there with memory. The armrest here is kind of interesting because this opens it up, and then you've got a big storage box with USB ports at the back, and then close it. How cool is that? Nice and easy. So it's just things like that. Everything's really quiet and really nicely finished. Everything you can possibly touch it just looks good. I'm not sure if you can quite see this. It's just nice. Everything's just really nice. And is that a little speaker up there? That's probably why the sound system is so good. It's really good. The DB11 embroidery on the headrest, kind of cool as well, a bit different. And then around the back, cozy, but if you desperately had to squeeze in there, if you put the seat forwards, there is a little bit of legroom, so you can actually squeeze in there. Whereas on the previous round of cars, not so much space, maybe small people in the back. So inside, all is pretty good. It's effective. It's what it needed to be, and it maintains the Aston Martin look and feel while introducing all this tech. If I put it into reverse, just so you can see that, the 360 camera and the rear view camera, it's all got the technology that you would want it to have. So I'm going to shut it down, back into park, and then go have a look on the outside. First, let's come around to the boot, which you can either do from the door panel inside, or you can do it by pressing and holding on the remote, which opens up from down below there. Now, it's actually quite a decent amount of storage space with my bag already in here. It goes quite high, quite deep. There's an umbrella fitted here, which is nice, and the entry is really low, so to put your stuff in, you don't have to lift it very high, albeit it's quite narrow, the gap, but really you're not going to be trying to fit anything bigger through that than would obviously fit. And the boot has a soft close as well, so pulls itself down. Just things like that, all very nice touches to the car that just work really quite well together. While we're around here too, you can see the roof strakes, so that's an interesting one. You can have those in black, silver or body colour. So this car's a Cinnabar orange car, and obviously with the black it works very nicely, ties in with the black at the lower skirts and the sort of front splitter, and again the two-tone wheels, so a bit of black on the wheels. But on a dark coloured car you might want that silver to contrast against. In the opposite sort of side, it's a nice sort of optional two-tone design feature that you can add onto DB11. But I have actually genuinely loved driving this car. I think it is truly brilliant. Obviously, big natural draw to Aston Martins. My first proper sports car was an Aston Martin, and I've got an Aston Martin GT8 on order myself, so it's lovely to come up here and drive the new DB11. And I mean, you've probably seen, you know how I feel about it. I've really loved this car. Great GT characteristics, very fun sports sort of side to it too when you turn it up and you drive. And the sound, if you ever thought that you would have to lose audio, or sort of a decent audio soundtrack by adding in twin turbochargers, you don't, and that is how you do it. That is the prime example of making a twin turbocharged engine sound as good as it always should. Slightly downsized in capacity, but kept the cylinders and kept the soundtrack. It is brilliant. So this has been a rather wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the DB11, my first driving impressions, and an overall look around the car, some of the sort of aero features, the stats, and then a look around the inside at the end. I've loved being up here, so thanks to Aston Martin for letting me come up and drive the DB11 for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and there's some sort of discussion about the looks. To me, it's sort of spectacularly sort of elegant, but with a little bit of brute sort of design to it, and that's very much what I like. Wonderful car. Wouldn't mind doing some more driving with these, with a DB11 in the future. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch up with you again next time. Cheers.